All right, so we have a quiz tomorrow, so we're going to be talking about the problems that we did, and hopefully they'll be helpful for you to look over today. There are only two relationships you need to know. If two lines are, please, if two lines are parallel, they have the equal slope, right? And if they are perpendicular, they have opposite reciprocal slope. Those are the only two things we need to remember going into this. But the rest is just a little bit of problem solving, but we'll get into that. I'm going to go through each of these such that we know how to get them done, because they're going to be questions like this tomorrow. Are the following lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Well, let's see. Y is equal to 3x. If we're looking at the slope. The slope is that number that's multiplied to x. And in this case, we want to see, is this other slope, is it going to be the opposite reciprocal, or is it going to be the same, or is it going to be neither? If it's perpendicular, what kind of slope should we look for? Well, the opposite reciprocal of 3, the opposite would make it negative. Reciprocal, well, the reciprocal of 3 over 1 is 1 over 3. So it would be negative 1/3. We don't have that. We have negative 3. Let me zoom in a little bit. Similarly, if this were to be parallel, the line parallel to y is equal to 3x would also have the slope of 3 for 3x. We have neither of those, so these are neither. Okay, the next one. We are asked about these two lines, but we need to do some work before we can get them into a y equals scenario. This one here. Dang, this pen's breaking on me. We have 2x plus 3y is equal to 6. We need to get y equals. So there's this item here that I have to get away from that y, and this 3 that's multiplied to it that I also have to get away. We're going to want to subtract 2x first. Minus 2x, minus 2x. So that gets rid of it on this side. We get 3y is equal to 6 minus 2x. And now we have to divide by 3 to get y alone. When I'm dividing by 3 on the right-hand side, I'm dividing everything by 3. So I get y is equal to 6 divided by 3 minus 2 divided by 3x. Well, this simplifies to y is equal to 2. This 6 over 3 is 2 minus 2/3 x. So that's one of our lines. We got to figure out what the other line is as well. This guy here. 3x minus 2y is equal to 6. Let's bring the 3x to the other side like we did earlier. We're going to subtract 3x. So we have negative 2y is equal to 6 minus 3x. Now I have to divide a negative 2 from everything. So this gives us just y is equal to, well, 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. And then let's see. Negative 3 divided by negative 2. Well, these two negatives will cancel. So we'll get a plus 3/2 x. So we're comparing a 3/2 to a negative 2/3. That is exactly an opposite reciprocal. Those are perpendicular. These are perpendicular. All right, let's move on to the next one. X plus y is equal to 2. We want to get y equals, so we're just going to subtract this x from both sides. We get y is equal to 2 minus x. This is the same thing as saying 2 minus 1x, so this slope is negative 1. Next one, we have negative y is equal to x minus 1. Well, we have a negative y, I want to get a positive y, so we're going to multiply -1 to both sides. So that will give us a y equals, and what I have to do here is change the sign of everything here. It's going to be now a -x and a +1 now. So we have a -1 slope as well. These both have a slope of -1, they're parallel. I run out of room. Can't finish the word. Okay. If you needed that, rewind a little bit. I am erasing. Okay, now it says write the equation of a line. When it says write the equation of a line, we need a y is equal to mx plus b. That passes through the origin, so passes through 0, 0, and that intersects with this line here to form a right angle. Okay. So let's think about when it passes through the origin, that is its y-intercept, right? Whatever that might be. That is the value of b then. And I'll show you how we'll have to go about that differently. So we know we're going to have y is equal to mx plus 0. So we can effectively say y is equal to mx. All we need is the slope. Well, what's the slope? The slope is going to form a right angle with this line here. So we just have to look at this slope. We're going to say y is equal to the opposite, something times x, the opposite reciprocal of 2. Well, the opposite makes it negative. Reciprocal makes it 1/2, -1/2 x, and that's it. Okay. Next one. Two lines having the same y-intercept are perpendicular. The same y-intercept, we know y is equal to mx plus b. B is y-intercept. One of these equations is this. What is the other equation? Well, the other one is going to be y is equal to something plus 5, right? They have the same y-intercept. We're given that it has the same y-intercept. If one of them has the equation or the slope -2/3, what is the equation of the second one? Well, it's the opposite reciprocal. I'm going to be saying that 1,000 times. So the opposite of -2/3 would be +2/3. So it can be a plus there. Well, the reciprocal of 2/3 is 3/2. So it's 3/2 x plus 5. Okay. If the line is parallel to this guy here, will it be parallel to this? Okay, if it's parallel to this, that means we know it has the same slope. The slope is going to be 4/5. Then will it be parallel to this? So that means, will this have the same slope? Will this have a slope? 4/5. And we're going to have to test that by solving it out. Okay, let's see. 4x plus 5y is equal to 30. Well, the first thing we have to do is subtract 4x from both sides. We get 5y is equal to, let's see, 30 minus 4x. Now I have to divide 5. I know I used a big line before, just on the right side, but this might make it a little bit easier. We're dividing every item by 5. So these 5s cancel. We get y is equal to, well, 30 divided by 5 is 6. Then we'll do minus 4/5 x. So the key thing here is this negative. Our slope is -4/5, and that is not the same as +4/5. So these are not parallel. Okay, now let's move on to the one that kind of tricked me today. Let's name each of these lines that we're going to be talking about. Please work. So we're going to have line A and line B. So if it says, if a line is perpendicular to A, will it be perpendicular to B? So this supposed line they're talking about, let's call it C. Come on, please work. C. So we're going to say that, so we're given that C is perpendicular to A. So how are we going to find out the slope of C? So we need to just look at this slope here, this M, and find the opposite reciprocal of it. Opposite reciprocal. I'll say it 1,000 times. Negative 2/3. The opposite reciprocal, well, it's going to be a 3/2, and it's also going to be positive. So this line C has the slope of 3/2. So will this be perpendicular to this line here as well? Well, what you should be able to tell just by using intuition. If we have lines A and B, if A, and we have line C right here, if C is perpendicular to A and it's perpendicular to B, then A and B are parallel. Like if these are both right angles, then A and B are parallel. So we're going to see, does this slope also equal negative 2/3? So we'll say, okay, 2x plus 3y is equal to 12. Well, let's subtract 2x from both sides. And let's rewrite this now as 3y is equal to 12 minus 2x. Now let's divide by 3. When we divide by 3, we get y is equal to 4 minus 2/3 x. So yes, it is perpendicular to both of these lines. All right, last one on this page. Graph a line N that is parallel to this line M that goes through this point P. All right, so when it's parallel, we have to find that slope. We have to make sure it has the same slope. So I'm going to find 2 points on here. Let's see, there and there. You go up 2, over 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, our rise is 2, and our run is 4. So the slope of this is 1/2. So our line, and I'll do this, even though we can see the point P, I'll do this a long way. I'll say y is equal to 1/2 x plus b. We don't know what b is. B is the y-intercept. We can see it on the graph, but I'm doing it algebraically right now. So this point here is 0, -1. So I'm going to plug in the point that we're given. So that's an xy point, right? So I'm going to say -1 is equal to 1/2 times 0 plus b. Well, 1/2 times 0 is 0, right? -1 is equal to 0 plus b. B is equal to -1. So y is equal to 1/2 x minus 1. Let's see what else we can do, how much time we have left. This is a more tricky one. Okay, graph a line Q that is perpendicular to line M through point A. All right, what we need to do is we need to find a slope for this. Let's also find this point A. Point A is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then what we're going to do is we're going to use that a little bit later. Let's find this slope. I found these 2 points here. We're going down 2. We are going over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm putting a negative right there. So the slope is equal to -2/5. So then the perpendicular slope, you should all know by now, it's been saying it's 1,000 times, would be +5/2. When we know y is equal to mx plus b, we know that now that m is equal to 5/2. So we're going to plug that in. Y is equal to 5/2 x plus b. Oh, we don't know what b is. Like we know it's going to be something like this. We don't know exactly where it's going to cross the y-axis. But what we can do is we can use this point A. We know point A is equal to 4, 5. We're going to plug that in just to where we see x and y, and then we're going to solve for b. So we'll say 5 is equal to 5/2 times 4 plus b. Well, let's see. 5/2 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20, divided by 2 is 10. So we say, I'm running out of room with my trackpad here. 5 is equal to 10 plus b. Well, what do I do now? I subtract 10 from both sides. We get b is equal to -5. No, not -15, -5, excuse me. So our final equation is y is equal to 5/2 x minus 5. See you all tomorrow. I hope this helped.